Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you some of what I think are the best YouTube channel ideas for 2020 based on certain trends that are going on right now. And even if you're new to this, one thing I want you to keep in mind is that if you can combine entertainment with keywords, then you have a really good recipe for a channel that could take off. So there are a bunch of examples of this. I'll show you the different types out there, but what happens is these keywords, that's what people search for in the search bar up here on YouTube. You search for certain keywords and that helps you find new videos from channels you didn't already know about. And then the entertainment side of whatever information or whatever type of video you're looking for is kind of what keeps people around and makes them more likely to subscribe to you. So if you're boring and you still answer their question, they might be happy for you answering their question, but they might not want to subscribe, or they might not want to watch what other videos you have. But if you can combine those, you can rank your videos so you have a lot of new people seeing your videos all the time. And then you have a lot of traffic, which means a lot of revenue, however you're making your money. And then you also have basically the entertainment side of it to keep people watching longer and subscribing more often. So the first way of doing this, I would say, is sports highlights. So sports highlights is a really good way to go, or you can do a breakdown of film. That would probably be even better if you are good at analyzing a certain sport. Maybe you've played it in college or something and you know a lot about it. Maybe you're a coach. But if you can do a sport like basketball, for instance, where they're not as strict on whether or not you can use clips from their games, then you can create a channel like House of Highlights that has almost 2 million subscribers. There are a bunch of channels like House of Highlights that are all very successful, and they basically will do highlights of games for each game. So you have the keywords of the game based on, like, let's say the Lakers versus the 76ers 2020 or whatever. And then you'll have full highlights, or you can do a breakdown of like this player, and then that name is a really good keyword that shouldn't have a lot of competition. And then you have ways of just getting more people in the door if they want to watch highlights of a certain game, or they want to see a breakdown, a film of a certain player, or something like that. So it's a great way to go if you want to rank for a lot of keywords that won't have much competition. And you have the entertainment factor of using footage and doing compilations and breakdowns of an actual popular sport. Now, other sports like, say, football, the NFL, things like that, they may not want you to use clips as much. Some of them allow you to do this more than others. So make sure you research the sport you're going to do first before doing this. Another great way to combine entertainment and keywords that can rank videos are books. So books are a great way to go because usually they're not going to have hardly any competition. And once you get pretty good at YouTube, you will be, probably top 5 results for most of the books you cover, as long as you can keep the reviews or the summaries or whatever you're doing entertaining. So basically, you can do summaries, reviews. You can just talk about, say, a book that's about to come out, or you can basically do a reaction to a book after you finish it. But I've seen a channel like Fight Mediocrity do very well doing, say, a whiteboard animation to keep it entertaining, and then they'll do, say, book summaries of popular books. Usually they do books on like success and things like that, but they also do these videos now about like advice or quotes from certain successful people like Joe Rogan or something, and it kind of gets really good traction because of not only the keywords but the entertainment of watching the whiteboard animation to go with the audio. And the audio is almost like pre-written, so it's kind of like listening to an audiobook, except it's a much shorter summarized version of a book you might be interested in. So if you combine all that, you have hundreds of thousands of views per video from this channel. So it worked out really well. They have over 1 million subscribers. So that's another thing you could do, is do, say, books, do summaries, do whiteboard animations, kind of combine certain aspects of those. You can also do animation parodies. So these are very popular, and you look at something like Meat Canyon, which is not necessarily one of the first ones you might think of if you're someone who watches a lot of these, but they're one that is getting a lot of traction lately, and they're doing things like Star Wars. They're doing other things as well. They're doing like a Yu-Gi-Oh cartoon type thing. They've done like other cartoons like Ed, Edd and Eddy or Courage the Cowardly Dog or some of these other ones that you may have grown up watching. And they have these parodies that are really funny, and they have their own animation style. So they're not having to use copyrighted clips or anything like that. So you're creating an original work, but you're using the keywords and you're using the recognition of characters that people already know. So it's really hard to do animation if you're just making up brand new characters and you're not already popular. But this is a great way to kind of get the best of both worlds and get a really popular channel. So I would check out something like that if you're interested in animation. Then you have basically interviews and lessons from famous people, successful people. One example that's really taken off here in the last few years is Powerful JRE, which is the Joe Rogan Experience, which kind of started off as a podcast and now is fully recorded on YouTube as well. You notice that pretty much every episode gets over 2 million or 3 million views, and he has a wide variety of guests on the show. So basically they have the recognition of famous people, and they attract a lot of different viewers because they're famous people from a lot of different industries. And then you have Joe Rogan, who's the constant in every show, who's a comedian and also a commentator for UFC. So he's very well spoken and he's very easy to listen to, good conversationalist, and funny. So you have the entertainment factor of a comedian being the host and a commentator and having a lot of famous people on there, and you have the key words of these famous people's names. Then another type of way you could do this is basically using clips and creating compilations to create maybe a motivational video or some sort of lesson on how to be successful, like top 10 lessons for success from a certain person. That's another way you could go, where you're basically having the name recognition of famous people and you're entertaining them by using, say, their clips and making a compilation of some great things they've said on a certain topic. So Motivation Madness is a way that they do that in a motivational way. And if you don't want to do interviews, that could be a more successful way for you to go if you're maybe more introverted. Another thing you can do is news with commentary or some sort of comedy built in. You have news stories all the time that get a ton of views because it's stuff that just happened. And you can talk about all sorts of different things. You probably want to have some sort of theme that you focus on. Like, for instance, if you look at Philip DeFranco, this is a channel that's been around a very long time. And it's got 6.4 million subscribers. He's actually built other channels as well that I believe have very big, popular subscriber numbers as well. But basically, he talks a lot about different types of drama and controversial stuff going on with celebrities. But you'll see a lot of celebrity names or news headlines in his titles. So you get that kind of, not necessarily clickbait, but very attractive and interesting headlines that make you want to click on them. And then you have the recognition of the people's faces and the thumbnails, which is a great thing to do as well, to kind of make the thumbnail stick out and make people click it more often. And then you have the constant, which is the host, who is Philip DeFranco, who uses comedy and kind of a lot of energy to kind of go over different things that happen in the news. So it's another way to kind of get your entertainment in a news format. So that could be something that could go really well if you kind of can find your own way of doing that and using your own personality, maybe with comedy or something along those lines. You also have reaction videos, commentary on music and movies and those types of things. So movies are a great type of keyword that you could rank for. Obviously, you have the trailers for these movies and stuff, but you can rank, right underneath those trailers with say, a reaction to the latest Game of Thrones episode or reaction to the latest Star Wars movie or whatever. You can review them. You can make fun of them. You can basically just give your thoughts on what you would have done differently or something along those lines. So for instance, vocal coach reacts to blank. So if you have like some sort of degree or some sort of qualifications that make you uniquely qualified to give a certain perspective on something that is maybe a famous song or a famous video or a famous book or whatever, that can be a really good way to build a channel. So for instance, if you're a vocal coach and you react to a lot of famous songs right when they come out, it's a great way to start ranking and getting a ton of views right away. And basically you can, for some reason, YouTube allows you to use these videos and then you can give your reaction and, you know, make money however you're going to do it on these channels. So like a vocal coach reaction is something that's gotten really popular. I've even seen people like a smaller channel do a preacher's reaction to a rock song that's kind of dark or something like that. So you have very unique ways of doing reactions, and it works really well, especially if you're uniquely qualified to give that reaction based on your qualifications or degree from college or something like that. Another example of this is How It Should Have Ended. This has almost 10 million subscribers. Basically what they'll do, they'll use animations and commentary to kind of say what they thought a movie should have done in the end, because a lot of times people don't like the way a movie or TV show ends. So they talk about what they would have done. They might throw some cartoons in there to entertain you, and you can kind of see whether or not you agree with the ending they picked or with the one that was in the original version. Or you can go in the comments. This is a great way to get comments because a lot of people will want to say what they thought it should have been in the end. So you get a lot of people commenting on your videos and participating and coming back to see kind of the conversation with other commenters. You have the animation, you have the interesting twist or ending that they thought it should have been, and just a lot of good things happening, which makes this channel very popular and gets it millions of views on pretty much every single video that they do. Another thing is if you're more of a gamer, you can do video game walkthroughs, or you can do Easter egg hunting, or achievement hunting, or boss fights. You can do a lot of different things with video games where you are basically ranking for the keywords of the name of the game, or even go farther, especially if you're a beginner and you know there's a lot of competition. You can go and rank for the names of characters or something along those lines that are in the game that you're trying to, you know, cover. So that would be even less competition. You would be even more likely to get your videos to get pretty good views. And then you can rank for the larger name brand type stuff later on once you've built a pretty large channel. So you have something like Boss Fight Database. I thought this, when I came across this channel, I thought it was pretty good and a pretty smart way to run a channel, because basically you have these boss fights, which are the hardest people to beat in a video game usually, and then they use the boss's name as a keyword and then the video game itself as a keyword, and so you're ranking for a lot of things in search results, and then you're showing them how to beat it and kind of strategizing, and they get to watch you do it, which is also entertaining, watching people play video games. That's why streamers have gotten so popular. So Boss Fight Database, great example of how you can rank for people within a game because you're showing them how to get past a certain part. Then you have a more general video game channel like the Rad Brad that has over 11 million subscribers, just cranking out a lot of videos, like multiple videos a day in some cases. And what they'll do is they'll kind of walk you through a game. So you'll see a lot of times they don't just like put a certain character's name in there. They'll tell you like walk through part 8 or walk through part 6 or whatever for that particular game. But he's built such a big fan base that it doesn't really matter. He can just do that and still be one of the top search results and have people keep coming back that are trying to figure out how to get past a certain part in a game, or if they want to even buy the game. So the Rad Brad, great example of a more general channel. More specific channel, which would be actually better if you're a beginner, is something like Boss Fight Database. Last but not least, you have something like music covers. This is a really good way to start getting traction with a YouTube channel if you are more of a musician or if you're a great singer, and you can do something that's a little bit different instead of just covering songs that are famous. Now, obviously, you want to cover stuff that's brand new. The newer it is and the faster you can get that cover on the YouTube channel, the better, because you'll have less competition the earlier you can get it out. But another thing that a lot of people don't think of is you can rank for songs that aren't major hits yet, or that aren't on the radio. You can rank for songs that are within, say, a TV show like The Witcher, a popular new show on Netflix. You can rank for, say, a cover of that song, which you see metal cover of a song that is a completely different genre, but is within a TV show. So it's not necessarily a song that you would see in iTunes or something like that, or on Spotify, but it has a lot of people searching for it because it's a catchy song that they saw in a TV show or movie recently. So you could redo that song, do your own way of it, and you can get millions of views. As you can see, 7.1 million views. You have 2.4 million views, 887,000 views. So it can work really well as well. So that's kind of those are a bunch of examples of how you can use keywords combined with entertainment to kind of create a really good channel that ranks for things, that is easy to discover, even if you're new and even if there's a bunch of competition. And then you can grow it by ranking for more and more stuff, and you keep people around because it's so entertaining. So hopefully this was helpful. Check out the video in the top right for more stuff like this, and I'll see you in the next video.